morning. Welcome to the Mackey Method podcast with Marcus Mackey. And today is kind of a on the spur of the moment podcast. This episode is kind of an impromptu episode as our amazing production team, Brand Crumb, shout out to them, who allowed me to come and record 30 minutes prior to this. Appreciate them. I wanted to get in here and just share some thoughts. I had some thoughts over the weekend. Today's Monday. I had some thoughts over the weekend. A lot of things that has been going on business-wise for me, and I thought it's good to share in the moments that you're going through. I think it's easy to talk about some things after you've experienced them, but it's good to talk about them in the middle. Actually, to that point, we were actually going to name this podcast In the Middle with Mackey. I think we shared that before, where a lot of people talk about the beginning of a thing and they talk about the end. You know, the beginning they had, one computer and two people or whatever. However, they started business or family or whatever. They had $2 in their pocket and they grew it to $1 billion industry, right? But there's parts in the middle that are challenging. They're hard. And if you aren't careful, sometimes you will forsake what you're going through or the pursuit of what you're trying to achieve because you're looking for that happy ending. I have found myself in the middle of something. I've been in the middle of a lot of things, and I've overcome a lot of things. And this is one of the things that I am in the middle of. Our business is at a point where it's growing, but it's in transition. We are anticipating some larger projects. We're doing some of our smaller ones, and we are in great, days away, 2 weeks away, a few months away, of in great anticipation of being awarded or signing contracts on some larger ones. TD Jakes has a statement of, what are you doing while you're waiting for the bus to come? And I think that is something that can be applied in many different facets, right? There's things that you want to achieve and there's things that you want to go after. And sometimes it's hard because you're waiting for something. And I'm kind of there. I'm waiting and doing the groundwork while we wait. But I cannot lie and say that it hasn't been easy. It has been very frustrating. And so what I want to do is share with someone that may be in the middle of something, some of the things that I am doing while I'm waiting. Anytime you are anticipating something, if you don't have patience, you will burn out very quickly. And sometimes what fuels your patience, practically all the time, is what fuels your patience is your passion. So passion is the why you do something, why I'm in business, why I have a family, why I'm in school. Whatever that why is, you have to keep it in the forefront of everything you do. Because if you don't, you will quickly lose sight, and then you will do things based on money. You do things based on time. You will do things based on many different factors. But when you know your why, it gives you the ability to be patient. It gives you the ability to be sound. It gives you the ability to be able to hold your emotions. So I am reminded daily of my why. I started this company, be impressive, not to make a lot of money, honestly. I started Verity to be able to have the ability and the freedom and the opportunity to build cool things for people and to give other people opportunity to have opportunities that they wouldn't normally get. And it's a challenge, but it is something that I am experiencing. So I would say knowing the passion will drive your patience. The next thing is never give up. There's been a lot of battles, and I'll be transparent. We have some very difficult clients. We have some very hard clients. We have a client who's I guess, trying to sue us right now. We have clients who are unhappy with us for what they don't understand. And I am not the first person to put blame, but what I will say is that you do get tired of fighting. You get tired of doing and constantly pressing, constantly pushing. And it seems like resistance is like on several different angles. But if you can still see it, like, you should keep going no matter what. However you can find a way. You may disappoint some people, you may upset some people, but you have to keep going, because you don't want to disappoint your 70-year-old self or your 40-year-old self, or even the you a year from now. And so how that looks is, the Bible says that whatever you do it with all your might. And if you can do something with all of your might and throw everything at it, it's eventually going to break. It's like taking a sledgehammer and hitting it against a concrete wall. Yes, the concrete wall was made to resist those type of hits, but a constant beating at it. I used to chip concrete before I got into construction management. And our bosses used to tell us, continue, just keep going at it. Keep going at it. If you got to hit it from a different angle with the chipping hammer, the consistency of chipping at concrete causes several things. It causes the concrete to break, but the vibration of the hammer causes not just the concrete to break, but it causes a ripple effect within the whole structure. And so I share that to say, just if you believe in it, keep going after it. It could look like a dead end. If there's a way you can find your way around it, find your way under it, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to take hard work, but if you can find your way through it, you have to keep going. You have to keep going. The other thing I would say that I have learned to do is to look at things in worst case scenarios, meaning sometimes when things come up, sometimes when situations happen, it's what is the worst case scenario that can happen? So the way I look at situations is this going to matter 3 weeks from now? Is this going to matter a month from now? What are the things that I can change about this situation? And if you look at all those things and you can answer one of those things, do that. If there's things that are out of your control, they're just out of your control. And you have to be okay with certain things being out of your control. And looking at the worst case scenario helps you identify the things, because I think we stress over things that we think we can control, but we really can't. As a general contractor, it's difficult because everybody expects that you can control your subs. My painter, my electrician, my drywaller. But if my drywaller has committed to doing something else, I can't control that. I can be honest and ask him when he's available. I can maybe find someone else, but specifically him, I can't control that. If there are situations, if there are circumstances that you cannot control, free yourself from feeling like you have to be the one to solve the problem. You have to be the one to answer them. Yes, there's certain things you can get around, but if there's things that are out of your control, you just have to work with what you have. So subs tell me all the time, like I had a situation last week. Hey, I can do the grease trap right away. Grease trap is 5 to 7 days out. I told the owner that the plumber will start the next day because that's what he told me until the grease trap was delayed. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing the owner can do. There's nothing the plumber can do. So what can we do outside of that? And I think in situations like that, I think sometimes we get so frustrated because we can't change the situation. And there's a lot of pressure from people, from opportunities to want to change the situation that's just not able to be changed. Finally, I will say this, and this is what has helped me quite a bit. you have to change your angle, change the way you see things. There was a podcast I was listening to, or an interview I was listening to with Bishop Jakes and Stephen Furtick, and they were talking about the book Soar. And one of the things that they were talking about was Bishop Jakes was at a Chamber of Commerce event, and the CEO of a prominent healthcare system was speaking to tons of CEOs, tons of business people, thought leaders in the area. And he said these words. He said, us CEOs, the CEOs who lead thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, we know how to pivot. We know how to shift. We know how to, motivate our teams. But the answer is not how you shift. The answer is, what are you willing to let go? What are you willing to leave behind in order to grow? And this by far has been one of the key things that has helped me transition, helped me believe. What are you willing to let go? Because there's things about what you're doing. There's things about what you're trying to do that we want to hold on to. I used to sign contracts for jobs and bid jobs and take projects because of cash flow. I have a staff, I have overhead and all that. And business people tell you, yeah, you got to do this to keep the lights on. But at the same time, what are you willing to let go? And I was, and at the point, we could have way more smaller projects, but I have committed to saying, I'm not going to do any more smaller projects because I don't want to be identified as a contractor that does small projects. I want to be identified as a contractor that does larger ones. And so the thing that I had to do was let go of wanting the cash flow, wanting the ability to stay in business. Although that sounds super crazy, but live life on the edge to, I've been working really hard at these large ones. They're getting really close. And so I'm going to commit to what I say and willing to let go of the small ones. It's been a challenge because, there's so many things, so many problems that can be solved. Bible says money answereth all things, but it's something that I have to be willing to let go. And I'm in the middle of it, guys. And I figured this was a good time to talk about it because a lot of people see entrepreneurship as, oh my God, this is amazing. I think, I don't know for sure, but the local newspaper is possibly recognizing us for being one of the fastest growing companies this year. And that's amazing. But it comes with these choices, with these hard decisions, deciding to grow, deciding to keep going, even when it's difficult, even when it's hard, even when it's painful, even when you don't understand, even when you don't have any money. Somehow you got to keep going. You got to keep going. You have to keep pursuing. You have to keep pushing through because the end is in sight. If you have the passion to do it, the resources, the things are always going to be there. I'm in the middle of it. I'm going to see the end of it. I know I am, but I wanted to share this as fresh as I'm in it because I think it's going to help so many people that, we're doing this much. We've done this much, and here's the story behind it. The story behind it is this has to work or it won't work. I hope you're encouraged. I hope that you find the strength to keep going. You find the strength to remember why you started from the beginning, why you did all the things that you've done to get to this point. Why? And if you can find a legitimate reason why, yes, we're all going to make mistakes. Yes, we're all going to have issues, circumstances. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. But if you can remember your why, if you can remember why you started, I think you will find that the end is going to pay off. It's always going to pay off. The seeds of difficulty always pay off. So this is the Mackey method. That was what's on my head and in my heart, and I want to share it with you. Be tuned to tune in later, and thank you so much for listening.